apocalypse doesn't start with fire. It starts with one sentence. It's for your own good. Suddenly you trade freedom for safety. You trade your body for an upgrade. You trade your thoughts for peace. Today I'm bringing you the best post-apocalyptic series from 2025 to 2026 that you can stream right now. Bunkers, viruses, nuclear wastelands, and worlds where the biggest threat isn't the end and civilization. It's the people trying to rebuild it their way.
Pluribus. In the near future, humanity enters a new era in which loneliness, conflict, and chaos are to be eliminated once and for all, thanks to technology that connects human minds into a single collective consciousness. The world functions more peacefully than ever before. Decisions are made collectively, and the system analyzes the emotions and thoughts of billions of people, creating a perfectly planned reality. However, when one woman begins to experience memories that were never her own, she discovers that the network not only helps people, but also controls their lives and eliminates those who no longer fit into the common order. With growing doubts, the protagonist begins to fight to regain her identity, trying to understand whether humanity has truly achieved utopia or has simply surrendered its free will to a system that is gradually taking full control of the world's future. Pluribus is an atmospheric science fiction film about the limits of technology, information manipulation, and the question of whether human survival still makes sense if humans cease to be themselves. Paradise. After a global catastrophe that nearly wiped out civilization, a handful of survivors live in a closed, perfectly designed community hidden deep underground. The series Paradise shows a world where safety has become more important than freedom, and every day functions according to strict rules designed to protect the last humans from the chaos reigning on the surface. However, the peace is shattered when a mysterious murder reveals that even in a place created as a paradise for survivors, there are secrets, manipulations, and a hidden struggle for power. The main character begins to uncover the truth about the disaster and who really controls the lives of the inhabitants, and each new discovery undermines the very meaning of the shelter's existence. Paradise is a dark survival thriller combining political intrigue with a post-apocalyptic atmosphere, showing that the greatest threat after the end of the world is often not the disaster itself, but people trying to create a new order at any cost. The beauty. In the world of the future, a mysterious disease called the beauty appears, which spreads sexually and, instead of killing, makes people physically perfect. Those infected become more beautiful, healthier, and free of signs of aging, and society quickly begins to treat the virus as a gift rather than a threat. However, the series shows that there is a dark price behind the perfect appearance, as the bodies of those infected begin to undergo irreversible changes, and the government and corporations try to hide the true effects of the epidemic. Two investigators look into a series of violent deaths linked to the virus and discover that the disease may be a tool for social control and the beginning of a whole new stage in human evolution. The beauty combines thriller, science fiction, and an epidemic atmosphere, asking the question of whether humanity can truly resist the temptation of perfection, even if it leads straight to self-destruction. Fallout Season 2. The second season of Fallout continues the story of a world hundreds of years after nuclear annihilation, where the surviving human race struggles to survive in a brutal reality of wastelands filled with mutants, gangs, and declining factions fighting for power. After the events of the first season, the characters leave their relatively safe shelters and venture deeper into the chaos of the surface, discovering that the real war for the future of the world is just beginning. Lucy must face the truth about Vault-Tec and the lies on which the entire shelter society was built. Maximus tries to find his place between the ideology of the Brotherhood of Steel and the brutal reality of the wasteland, and Ghoul continues his personal path of revenge and survival. The new season expands the world with new cities, factions, and political conflicts, showing that after the end of the world, the greatest threat is no longer atomic bombs, but people trying to rebuild civilization according to their own rules. Fallout Season 2 is a combination of post-apocalyptic adventure, dark humor, and brutal survival in a world where every decision can determine who survives the new era after the nuclear apocalypse.
Freeze. One choice only. Drop a single letter, A, B, C, or D, then add one short line what you do first. Keep it tight. Null extra letter dash. Go. Hive mind control. Peace, silence, no fear, and then your thoughts stock at being yours. Choose A if you trade yourself for safety. One line, what's your first move? The luxury bunker. Warm bed, full pantry, locked doors, but inside, trust dies first. Choose B if you'd go in. One line, what's your first move? The beauty virus. A perfect face, a hidden price under the skin. Choose C if you'd gamble on perfection. One line, what's your first move? Killer snowfall. The air outside is a weapon. Step out wrong and you're done. Choose D if you'd face it. One line, what's your first move? Blockhead in. One letter, one short line. If you hesitate, you die. I'm reading the smartest had plans. Move.
Twisted Metal Season 2. The second season of Twisted Metal continues the story of a world after the collapse of civilization, where cities have been isolated from each other, and traveling between them means fighting for your life on destroyed highways controlled by gangs and madmen. John Doe and Quiet are drawn into the legendary Twisted Metal Tournament, a brutal car competition in which drivers from across the post-apocalyptic world fight not only for victory, but for the fulfillment of any wish promised by the mysterious organizer. Each participant has their own story, motivation, and reason to risk everything, and the chaos of the races quickly turns into a bloody fight for survival. The psychopathic Sweet Tooth reappears on the hero's path, and the tournament reveals that the real prize is not the reward, but control over the future of what remains of civilization. Twisted Metal Season 2 combines dark humor, action, and the atmosphere of a post-apocalyptic road movie, showing a world where only those who can drive faster, shoot more accurately, and trust the wrong people will survive. El Eternauta. An unexpected deadly snowfall descends on Buenos Aires, killing thousands of people within hours and turning the normal world into a zone of immediate disaster. The Eternauta series tells the story of an ordinary man, Juan Salvo, who, together with a group of friends, tries to survive in a city cut off from any help, where going outside without protection means certain death. The survivors quickly discover that the mysterious storm is not a natural phenomenon, but the beginning of a much larger invasion, and humanity becomes a pawn in an alien war waged from the shadows. Each day brings new threats, mistrust, and a struggle for resources, and the characters must learn to work together to survive in a world that suddenly no longer belongs to humans. Eternauta is an atmospheric science fiction story about survival, solidarity, and the first days of the apocalypse, where the greatest weapons are not technology or armies, but ordinary people forced to stand against an invisible enemy. Billionaires' bunker. After a global crisis that brought the world to the brink of collapse, the richest people on the planet hide in a luxurious underground complex called the Billionaires' bunker. This place was designed as the perfect survival fortress, with its own food supply, artificial climate, and technology capable of cutting off its inhabitants from the chaos on the surface. However, it quickly becomes apparent that the greatest threat is not the destroyed world, but the people themselves, locked underground. Class conflicts, paranoia, and power struggles begin to escalate in the bunker when it becomes clear that not everyone ended up there by accident, and some of the inhabitants are hiding dark secrets related to the catastrophe. The series shows the brutal truth about survival. When civilization disappears, money ceases to matter, and the future is determined by trust, morality, and a willingness to make sacrifices. It is a story about whether security can be bought when the world has already ended.
If you want real zombies, well, watch my series next. Click the video on the right. It drops you straight into day 0. Well, don't blink.